Welcome back. We are still continuing our discussion here on the state of the nation. With me in studio is still Eston Maina, a political scientist, and of course Ngugi Ndegwa, who is the national chairman, NARC Kenya Youth League. Thank you so much. Let's start from you, Bwana Chairman.
Yes.
Your party is basically in opposition.
Yes.
And your party even had you won, you would be having the deputy president as we speak. But lately, we are seeing Azimio, then we are seeing Kamwene. Is opposition still united?
There is a lot to be desired. That is one thing that I would say. Nonetheless, I would say that Kenya needs, you will notice that I'm trying to evade that side of conversation. But Kenya needs a very strong opposition. And what I would say that now we do not have that kind of opposition, because you will notice that there is one side of the opposition that is on the table doing the bipartisan talks, while there is another one that is outside the table and threatening to go back to the streets. At this point, if the cost of living was really the question, I would say it is a good plan, and we need an opposition for that.
Just before you move further, I want to know who kicked out this other side out of the dialogue table. Did they move out of this table voluntarily? How can the other side be on the table and this other side is sitting outside? Why?
For now, I would also want to understand. Because as far as I'm concerned, the NARC Kenya party, and I'm not saying that as a spokesperson because I'm not, as a member of the party, I am not well briefed about the Kamwene, and also as a member of the Azimio, I'm lost because I do not understand whether we are on the table or not. So for now, I will really try to wade away from such a question because I do not really understand. But I'm hoping in the future to understand. But as at now, what I'm saying is that we really do not have it as far as the opposition is concerned. And we need to get to a place where we have a strong opposition that is united, whether it is one party, whether it is a coalition of parties, but we need an opposition that is united and that is focused on the agenda of the people. That's it.
Right now, what we are seeing is the 17 billion shillings oil.
Yes.
We still don't know the owner.
Okay.
One person is claiming ownership, then the government, even state agencies, Kenya Ports Authority saying no, it doesn't belong to Njeri. But Raila Odinga has taken on the whole issue. He seems to be using it to rebrand himself, to go back to Raila Odinga of the Eurobond expose, the days when he exposed Eurobond and all that. Do you think that this scandal is finally going to give us back the opposition?
Hopefully so. And before I tackle that, I want to put it out there that some members of the Kamwene Unity Forum formed part of the technical team of the National Dialogue Committee, if you recall profusely. So this saga, I don't know if we should call it a scandal yet, like you said, but I believe it has brought back the opposition, because now we have seen the opposition leader now openly criticizing the government that we thought he was going to go to bed with upon the bipartisan talks. And now it is a very weird scenario to see, where we are claiming, or the government is claiming, that it was a government-to-government deal, and at the same time they cannot substantiate and say this was the documentation that was put forth while we ordered for the oil. This is the documentation through all across the ports, because I was privileged when during my campus years, I happened to intern at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Yes. And one thing that was clear and apparent is that for any transit that is across borders, you have to, there's something that was called an in-flight and out-flight. If it's a flight, for every country you cross over, any airspace, you have to write to them when you enter and when you leave. And I believe the same applies for ship. you have to write to all those, those coastlines that you pass along before you get to your destination country. Do they have all the documentation? If it was the government indeed that ordered for the oil, then we have this other party that has the documentation, but states that now we have the government saying that the documentation is forged.
Yeah.
Okay, and upon maybe further, let me say, deciphering of the situation, we have then a very learned lawyer saying that upon following the money trail, that in September we had a withdrawal by the from the consolidated fund by the Ministry of Petroleum, what do we call it? Energy and Petroleum. They withdrew 16.2 billion. Then we pushed that forward to January. That is 4 months later. There was another withdrawal of 9 billion. Then we go to June. A few months before, now we have the 17.2 billion scandal. The exact same figure was withdrawn from the consolidated fund.
So you are juxtaposing the two.
That was under the disguise of subsidizing on oil products. This is my question. If it was supposed to subsidize private companies, who are these private companies? And if it was public money, why don't we document these private companies? It should be in the public domain.
Okay. So at this point, first of all, allow me to withdraw a statement I made. I called it a scandal. Yes. I think it is premature to call it a scandal because we are still waiting for the investigating agencies to look into that. I'm also eager to see what the parliamentary committees will come up with when they choose to investigate this, because I believe this is something that at the end we'll have to get there. I understand Njeri has been summoned by one of the committees to explain the source of this, so maybe moving forward we'll be able to get a clear picture of that. But we are expecting the National Dialogue Committee to give the report of their findings, I think this Friday this week. But when you are looking at a situation where the opposition is really making hard tackles at the government, is this an indication that perhaps the opposition has looked at what the recommendations might be and it doesn't look really promising for them?
I think I will go first. I think there is, as I had stated earlier, that we have a huge problem within the opposition because they do not speak as one. And that is where the problem is, that there is division in as far as this team that is called the opposition is concerned. And so there are issues that these people do not yet grasp, in my view, that they did not from the very start agree that these are the issues that we are going to present as a team, and that these other issues we will put aside. Now, without first agreeing as a team that you will put aside some issues and go forge forward with others, and no matter what comes, then it becomes difficult at the end to separate self-interest from what you call the interest of the people. And I think that is where the opposition faltered. But I think also that there is some level of insincerity on both ends, from the side of the government and from the side of the opposition. Because I would ask, and these are the questions that people should ask, where did the issue of food prices go to? Where did the issue of cost of living go to? Where are all these other issues that we need to be hearing apart from the having the office of the official opposition leader in such positions? So I think there is some loss of direction in as far as these bipartisan talks are concerned, and it will not be a surprise if they failed. And if they were to succeed at this point, then it means that self-interest has won, because again, remember, this is politics. Everyone is there to represent what they want. Election is over. I think, in my view, now these are people trying now to set themselves for the next race.
For the next race.
And that is politics.
Okay, let's look at party politics even as we wind up. Jubilee Party just released a statement a few minutes back before we came on air. It is saying that it is taking off the party leadership. Honorable Naomi Shaban, Honorable Peter Ole Mositet, Honorable Angwenyi Jimmy Ondieki, Honorable Nelson Zuya was the party chairman, that is Mr. Joel Kibe, Reverend Mutava Musimi, and Honorable Fatuma Gedi, as well as Joshua Kutuny, who was the former Secretary General. And what Deputy Secretary General, what they are citing is the fact that they were appointed by this government, are serving in different positions. And they are saying that the law says a state official should not be an official in a party. Politics are going on in several parties, not even Jubilee. ODM expects to have an election in February. UDA is doing theirs in April. When is NARC Kenya doing their election?
That one I will wait for the information from the Secretary General, Honorable Orwa.
Yeah.
But in as far as elections are concerned, that one I will not answer, because that should be given, is information that should be disseminated by the office of the Secretary General.
But at least there are plans. You've heard of anything?
Not
plans?
that I've heard of.
Yeah.
But we will hear in the next in the future, probably, and I'm hoping so.
Now, as we close, UDA party postponed their elections. People are saying there could be differences within the party. Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua particularly, he's not spoken to it, but people who are his foot soldiers, like the governor of Nyeri, Mutahi Kahiga, is saying we cannot divide the position of the deputy president. If you're having one party leader, let's have one deputy party leader. Are there plans to water down the powers of DP Gachagua within the UDA party?
Okay, thank you. Allow me to enjoin the three questions, and I'll do it swiftly. There was the question of the talks, that we the Bomas talks. I like to call them the Bomas talks. That is the dialogue committee. Yeah. It is important to note that when we talk about the claims that, most people think that it was the opposition that came up with the idea of having the office of the opposition leader. No, it came from the government side, and that was a way of trying to lure the opposition to maybe passing the office of the Prime Cabinet Secretary. Yes. When you look at the opposition, the demands that they have laid, the fresh demands, they resonate with the people because they touch on the cost of living. It is important that we look at this, the list of these demands. They are asking the government to lower the road maintenance cost from 5 shillings, from 18 shillings per litre to 5 shillings. That one will lower the cost of fuel. They're asking the government to zero rate on basic food commodities. Yeah. That touches on the lives of the people. Now, I will go to Jubilee. I think it is important that for any party, it has to be governed by the rules and regulations of the party, which dictate that any member that does not serve the interests of the party should not be a member of that party. And on the question of the UD elections, I think we have a very disingenuous regime, that blames, on one time they're blaming the former president. Now we have them blaming God, because they say they postponed the elections due to the El Nino. That's what they say. Now they're blaming God. And it is clear that there are wrangles within the party. There's one faction that wants us to have 2 deputy party leaders. Then there's a faction that says if we have in the national, setup of politics, we have the president and the deputy. Why do we have 2 at the political party, at the party level? So there are some underhands that they're trying to shortchange maybe the deputy president Gachagua, and his cronies know that, and that's where we have problems. And it is clear that some members, like Senator Boni Alwali, petitioned that Cleophas Malala, the SG of the party, was misusing power. So there are wrangles within the party, and of course the question of the people themselves. The people are not happy at the ground. They knew it would be hostile to hold these elections.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay, last word, please.
Yes, I think it is also good that we be honest, that in every party, and this is political parties and the politics in them, is that there will always be disagreements and agreements at times. But the essence of it is that if a party can be able to overcome such disagreements and differences, then that is the essence of it. But in as far as the politics of this country is concerned, all parties do have wrangles at one particular time.
Okay.
But if they are able to overcome, then that is what we call a party that has overcome the test of time, or has been able to undergo the test of time.
Okay.
Yes.
You are giving the president's party a clean bill of health. You are still skeptical.
Where there is smoke, there is fire.
Okay. Eston Maina.
And I would say that as far as the ruling party is concerned, I will say I'm not a member of that party, but I will say they have come closest to being a party that is admired.
Okay,
so
fine.
far.
Fine. Thank you so
disagree.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me for the State of the Nation. I've been speaking to Eston Maina, who is a political scientist. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we have also been speaking to Ngugi Ndegwa, who is a sociologist, political analyst, and the national chairman of the NARC Kenya Youth League. Thank you so much. We take a short break. We'll be right back in a moment.